The Lazy Peon. Since the introduction of transmogrification, World of Warcraft players have put in hundreds of hours into getting the best looking armor sets in the game. But there are some armor sets that we choose to forget. Sets that are so incredibly ugly that the mere thought of them puts us at risk of heart disease. Today, we take a look at these armor sets. Today, we risk our lives to decide once and for all, what is the ugliest armor set in the World of Warcraft. Starting off at number 10 we have the Rogue Tier 8 Terrorblade Armor, and at a glance you'll think, what the fuck has happened to my face? Then you'll realise it's just the helm. I'm on the fence with this set. I'm unsure if it's really cool or really fucking ugly. I think if I wore this set as a transmog every day, I'd get sick of that helm pretty quickly. I don't think it looks too bad on the human models, but looking at it on a gnome or an undead makes the set look really fucking bad. Overall, it's a pretty ugly set due to that creepy helm that looks like a face. Next up at number 9 we have the Paladin Tier 7 Redemption Armor, and this set's a remake of the Paladin Tier 3 Redemption set in Old Naxxramas. This set, unlike the Tier 3 version, looks like shit. The colours make the set look like it's been dragged through the Dalaran sewers, puked on and had King Varian wipe his nose in it for several weeks. I don't understand how they can make this set look so lackluster and dirty when the Tier 3 version it's based on looks so fucking good. It doesn't even look like a Paladin set. The main colours consist of this shitty browny green colour with black legs and red tinted knee pads that look totally out of place with the rest of the colour scheme. Despite this set as a whole looking pretty bad, you could probably rescue the shoulders and use it for some kind of transmog. Overall, it's a set that doesn't do its Tier 3 ancestor any justice at all. Moving on to number 8 we have the Rogue Tier 4 Neverblade Armor, and this set looks pretty fucking awful. Most Rogue armor sets look rather intimidating. This, however, makes the person wearing it look like they're trying to be some kind of spider themed superhero, but it fails miserably. Instead, the set makes you look like a superhero's bitch, the guy that brings the real heroes their toast and coffee in the morning. It even comes with a purple bra and pants, which look fine on the female models, but the male models, not so much. At number 7 we have the Shaman Tier 15 Witch Doctor Armor, and look at that headpiece, it's hideous. If you spin it around you can see it's just magically attached to your character's face, not even a strap to keep it in place. Does it look badass or intimidating? Fuck no, and how did your character see where they're going in this? There's clearly no eye holes in the mask, they're just staring into the back of a piece of wood. And look at those shoulders, it looks like the kind of shit my grandma would keep on her fireplace as an ornament. Overall, pretty damn ugly. Next up at number 6 we have the Mage Tier 8 Kirin Armor. This is the only Mage tier set to have trousers instead of robes. Mages wear robes, not fucking trousers. I remember getting this set back in Wrath of the Lich King on my undead mage before transmog was in the game. I fucking hated it and I was stuck wearing it for quite a while. The headpiece looks pretty ugly too. Luckily Blizzard listened to the mage community after releasing this set and have only released robe based tier sets for mages since. Now for a comment by Miss Bennett on Reddit. For mages I'd like to say tier 8 solely because of the pants. Notice how it's the only mage set with pants. They've never made that mistake again. The cowl is kinda cool though, so it gets points for that. Moving on to number 5 we have the Hunter Tier 16 Unblinking Armor. And what the fuck is this? In what way does this set possibly suit a hunter? It looks like you're wearing an old school scuba diving helmet. This set makes no sense to me. Not only does this set not suit a hunter, but it doesn't even suit the raid tier it was released for. I can't think of anything I like about this set at all. The shoulders, gloves, chest legs and helm all look like dog shit. Maybe the set would make more sense if we had an underwater raid where we had to kill a raid boss that could hold their breath for really long. At number 4 we have the Rogue Tier 10 Shadowblade Armor, and the first thing you'll notice is that headpiece. What is it? Why does it exist? Good question. Unfortunately I have no idea. What I don't understand about this set is why there's only one eye hole for our character to see out of. Maybe the artist that designed the set forgot how many eyes our playable races have. Maybe he's a Cyclops and designed the set for himself. We'll never know. I just think it sucks how the rest of the set looks pretty cool. It's just massively let down by the headpiece. Next up at number 3 we have the Death Knight Tier 16 Cyclopean Armor, and once again we have an armor set with one eye that doesn't make much sense. And what does this set do to identify as Death Knight armor? Absolutely nothing. The colour scheme looks pretty boring and washed out, the shoulders look hideous and the set does nothing to look cool, badass or intimidating in any way. I think I'd rather my character run around naked than have to wear this. So overall it's an extremely ugly armor set and just looking at it puts your eyeballs at risk of getting chlamydia. At number 2 we have the Paladin Tier 1 Lawbringer Armor, also commonly known as the Banana Suit. Whilst I was doing research for this video, I found this to be one of the most widely joked about armor sets in the game. It has ridiculous shoulders and a low res texture, which can be forgiven due to it being such an old set. Regardless of that, it makes your noble ass kicking paladin look like a wimpy banana man that just wants to help out the raid by being a tasty piece of fruit. The colour scheme, despite having the typical paladin colours of gold and white, look over the top and hurts my eyes after looking at it for too long. Here's a clip of the vanilla Lawbringer paladin in action.
Johnny, you need to choose between being a banana or a raider. But I like bananas and I like raiding. Can I do both? No, we need you to buff the raid, not standing there pulling aggro with your over-the-top armor. Aww.
Now for some viewer comments, starting with Wicked Weasel Productions on YouTube. Lawbringer set, obviously. Horrible armor, shoulders and helmet in particular, and the belt doesn't quite match. Toby Lee on Reddit says Lightbringer Paladin Tier 1 because holy fucking shit, it looks like cardboard painted white and yellow. And finally, for my number 1 ugliest armor set in World of Warcraft, we have all of Tier 2.5. Tier 2.5 was introduced with the Temple of Ahn'Qiraj back in vanilla and featured the most hideous armor sets in the game. One in particular that stands out was the Warrior's Conqueror battle gear that had an insectoid theme with unnecessary spikes, a horrible colour scheme and the most ugly shoulder headpiece combination I've ever seen. The Tier 2.5 armour sets, unlike most tiers, only featured 4 unique armour models. One for cloth, one for leather, one for mail and one for plate. They just made recoloured versions for different classes. So if you didn't like the Warrior's Tier 2.5 armour, you could bet you'd also hate the Paladin one just as much because the only difference was the colour scheme. Let's look at the cloth sets of Tier 2.5. Fucking disgusting, especially the Warlock colour. How about the leather sets? Surely they aren't too bad? Nope, they're equally as horrible. How about mail? Yeah, they're pretty awful too. So overall, Tier 2.5 gets the number 1 spot because every armour set in that tier looks like dog shit. And when you compare them to some of the awesome sets released in the previous tier for Blackwing Lair, there's no comparison. To be fair though, I think at the time Blizzard were understaffed and didn't expect the game to be as successful as it was, so there's a good chance with limited resources they simply didn't have that much time for designing decent armour sets. Now for some viewer comments. Lance DH on Reddit says Tier 2.5 in general. Sean Puvis on YouTube says Priest 2.5 is one of the ugliest excuses for tier sets I've ever laid my eyes upon. It honestly doesn't even look finished. The colour combination on it, the shoulders, the helm, what were they thinking? Defiant Blaze on YouTube says, in my opinion it's the Death Dealer set for rogues and AQ. It looks horrible. Cyan and yellow together doesn't look all that great, and the helmet and shoulder shape just make it unpleasant to look at. It generally looks like an old worn set of armour that's past its time, and now looks like an ugly antique. Now we're going to take a look at 2 honourable mentions that almost made the list, starting with the Druid and Rogue Season 4 Brutal Gladiators armour. And these sets both look pretty ugly due to the colour scheme, the shoulders, but primarily the helm that makes the person wearing it look like they're about to kill themselves. The Hunter Tier 11 Lightning Charged armour, and this set does look pretty ugly, but it didn't make the list because I do think it suits a Hunter rather well. The helm's made out of a Murloc skull and has nets on its hands. This set has a survivalist hunter feel to it, almost like he's been stranded in the forest and made armour out of whatever he could find. Although this set has a cool idea and theme about it, I think it could have been done a lot better, and it does end up looking quite ugly due to the odd colour scheme and the unnecessary green particle effects. So that's it for this video guys. If you haven't already checked out my top 10 armour sets video, I suggest you go watch it now because there's way more good armour sets in WoW than there are bad ones. The next video will probably be WTF Azeroth episode 3. However, I'm not sure when I'll get it finished because I'm moving house and I might have some downtime with internet, which sucks. Hope you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.